Hi. Hello. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Nicole Haldoupis, and I'm the marketing coordinator at Breakwater Books. We're really excited to welcome you to our Reading with Pride event in collaboration with St. John's Pride. We respectfully acknowledge the land on which we operate as the ancestral homelands of the Beothuk, the island of Newfoundland as the ancestral homelands of the Mi'kmaq and Beothuk, and we would also like to recognize the Inuit and the Innu as the original people of Labrador. Breakwater Books is the longest standing book publishing house in this province and is queer owned. We maintain a longstanding commitment to publishing and promoting the work of queer writers from our province and beyond. We continue to contribute to lobbying efforts to have queer content adopted into our province's K-12 curriculum, a reality that sadly has not yet been achieved, which makes events like this, like tonight's reading, all the more important to showcase the queer authors at work in this province, to lift up the visibility and reach of their work, and to celebrate the contributions they're making to queer lit nationally and internationally. We're also very excited to announce our Pride Week giveaway. So you could win all 3 of these beautiful books. Which you'll hear the authors from these books reading tonight. So Love Life by Bernardine Ann Teráz Stapleton, Us Now, Stories from the Quilted Collective, and transVersing. You can head to our Instagram account at Breakwater Books for details on how to enter the giveaway. I'll also be putting links to each of the books in the chat if you'd like to check them out further or order a copy. So let's get to the readings. First up, we have Xaiver Michael Campbell. Xaiver is a writer, actor, statistician, political scientist, and baker. He's originally from Jamaica and now lives in St. John's. Xaiver is a contributor to the anthology Us Now. Please welcome Xaiver.
All that went out the moment I walked into the room. Oh, did I? I'm good. I get started. The jitters once associated with reciting Bible verses from memory had been replaced by thoughts of how I was going to get this boy to play doctor with me. His name was Kareem. His dad was the pastor, which basically made him royalty, a prince. We were new to this church, but 2 weeks after, Mommy volunteered to be the church secretary, which also gave me some standing in the church hierarchy. It at least meant that both Kareem's family and of the church office. Over time, we bonded, mostly because we only had each other. There were other young boys at church, but none of them were stuck at church with their parents like we were. Proximity and distance and circumstance would see to it that our bond would flourish, and my desire to play doctor with this boy would hopefully come to fruition. Puberty may have been late, but my affections for Kareem had started growing on time. You wanna come sleep over at my house after church next weekend? I asked coyly after we had been friends and teammates for a few months. We had enough Bible quiz material to keep us busy for another 2 months of solid study. Unfortunately, the general convention and quiz competition was only a month away. Our sleepover was just a prolonged Bible study session. This was plausible enough for both sets of parents. Parents who would never consent to anything untoward between the two boys. When they can't sleep head to foot, we don't have no guest room for Kareem. Mommy told me before Kareem came over. It was a hot Friday afternoon in Kingston, and the truck was nowhere in sight. I had just finished swim practice for the week, and we were KFC ordering dinner. Friday nights were the only nights we had a takeout, partially because Mommy hated tasting salt in food, but mostly because there was no cooking in the house on the eve of the Sabbath day. Never. Of course, Mommy, I know how it go, I affirmed to her, also telling her to make sure she got a barbecue leg and thigh for me one day. This KFC was in the middle of the city. It was always crowded and the customer service was inconsistent. If you didn't specify your chicken parts, this KFC would always throw you their driest breast that not even the most scrumptious barbecue sauce could save. Later in life, my third boyfriend, Santo, found it adorable that whenever we went through the McDonald's drive-thru on Torbay Road, I would insist on going over every tiny detail of my order, specifically the mixture of strawberry and vanilla milkshakes together in the same cup, and a request for extra ketchup. There was still usually some miscommunication between order placed and order received. Towards the end of our relationship, before we would drive away from the window, and often without opening the bag, Santo would ask for more ketchup, even just to throw them into the glove compartment for use at a later date. Unfortunately, when we split up, we sold the car. The ketchup packets became property of Josh Clark. The end of that relationship was messy, and we would have fought desperately to keep the condiments in the glove compartments for ourselves. The house we moved into after my dad left was smaller than our old one. Before Kareem came over, I cleaned my matchbox bedroom meticulously, laid out all my best toys, and dusted the screen of the TV. What would he think of my room, my Britney Spears posters, or house? Everyone knew Pastor's house was basically a mansion, and they had 2 hired helpers and 5 acres of land. This piece of gossip was probably the most talked about bit of information on the lips of the saints of the church. When I eventually laid eyes on the house myself, I came to see it was indeed a mansion nestled in the lush green hills. They only had 1 acre of land though, because they sold the other 2 acres to their neighbor to start a banana farm. They had 2 helpers, Doreen for housework and Monroe for yard work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Xaiver. Sorry, I'm unpinning. That was amazing. Thank you so much. Our next reader tonight is Eva Crocker. Eva is the author of the critically acclaimed novel All I Ask, published by House of Anansi Press, which was longlisted for the Giller Prize and recently won the Winterset Award. Her debut short story collection, Barreling Forward, won the Alistair MacLeod Prize for Short Fiction and the CAA Emerging Writer Award, was a finalist for the Writers' Trust Dane Ogilvy Prize for LGBTQ Emerging Writers, and the NLCU Fresh Fish Award for Emerging Writers, and was a National Post Best Book. Please welcome Eva.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Thank you for putting this together. That was such a beautiful reading, Xaiver, and I'm really excited to get to read with everyone here today. I'm going to read a short excerpt of something new that I'm working on. So I think all that you really need to know in advance is that the protagonist's name is Stacy, and her girlfriend Maeve has just received some money because she was hit by a car on a crosswalk a few years ago, and she's using it to convert this van into a kind of like living space to go on a long trip. That's causing some heartache for the protagonist. When the money from her car accident finally came through, Maeve picked out the best portable toilet from the Home Depot website. The box had a super saturated photograph of a waterfall on the front. It's basically a plastic toilet seat on top of a plastic tank. There's a product called liquid gold that you pour in after you use it to mask the smell and break down the shit. When it's full, you dump the tank down one of those pipes poking out of the gravel at campgrounds and trailer parks. The liquid gold has the same glaring waterfall on the bottle. This can't be good for the environment, I said, reading the back as we headed down the narrow aisle to the alternative toilets section. It's too late for the environment, Maeve said. And plus, what are you saying? Purchasing power is going to change the world like paper straws, and I know, I'm just saying. When we found the toilets, there were two sizes. It's this one, I said, slapping the top of the box. I didn't know there was a bigger one. Do you think I should get the bigger one? Maeve asked. I saw a woman coming down the aisle and moved to the side to let her pass, but she stopped beside us. A middle-aged woman in a forest green LL Bean vest over a button-up. Her short gray hair fluffed around her face. Does it sound weird right now? No? Good? Okay. Are you buying that? The woman asked. Yeah, Maeve slid the box off the shelf. It was almost too big for her to carry in her arms. For a trailer, the woman asked. For a van, Maeve said. I'm just asking because I bought one for the bathroom in my trailer, but it's the wrong size, the woman said. I was ready to walk away from the small talk, but Maeve was patient. She was always getting caught up in interactions like this. People who were desperate to talk to someone found her and she indulged them. Will I continue, Nicole?
Sorry about that. Yes, I think it's good now.
Okay. Okay. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Sorry. People who were desperate to talk to someone found her and she indulged them. Actually, a lot of the time she seemed to genuinely enjoy it. The woman put an arm out and leaned on the shelf, settling in for a long chat. The aisle opened onto the paint section where an attendant was helping a young couple. I watched as he took a color swatch from the girl and keyed a code into the computer. This is a popular shade now, you probably know that, he said. Is it for the kitchen? A lot of people are putting it in the kitchen. I wandered into the lit paint swatch display, the liquid gold tipping my thigh with each step. I slid a strip of dark purple out of its slot and a stack of dark purple strips rushed in to fill the void. I glanced down the aisle and saw Maeve had her foot on the toilet box now and her arms folded, resting on her knee. Oh, I'm planning to build a little platform sort of thing for it to sit in, she was saying, with like a lip to hold it in place. There are two choices in a situation like this. stand close to Maeve and try to beam my impatience at her, or wander away and wait for her to find me when the conversation eventually wound down of its own accord. I tried not to think about the beautiful weather outside. The girl pointed her phone at the machine, dripping liquid fuchsia into the primer. Concentric pink circles wobbled across the white paint toward the rim of the tin. Beautiful, isn't it? The attendant said as he took the paint out from beneath the udder of the tinting machine. Especially that color you picked. You got enough pictures? He held the bottom of the open tin and tilted it towards her. The fuchsia rings on the surface slid into each other. The girl said something I didn't catch, and the three of them laughed. The attendant slapped the lid on the tin and lifted it into the machine that shakes the paint. 3 minutes, he said over the noise, pointing with a sideways thumbs up at the shaker machine. The couple went to find cup hooks. I put the strips of dark purple in my jeans pocket and walked back to Maeve. I tried to return it, but they wouldn't let me, the woman was saying. Maeve nodded. She put an arm around my hips, pulling me in close when I got close. Whoops. I hadn't noticed before, but then I understood the woman with the toilet problem was a lesbian. Maeve was better at picking up on that than me. It's still in the box. I've got the receipt. I bought it yesterday. I'm sure you could sell it online, Maeve said. I just wouldn't know how, she said. Kijiji, I suggested. It's this model, Maeve said. The 4-liter, yeah. Or Facebook Marketplace, that's what I use, I tried again. It's out in the parking lot, Maeve straightened up. What if I just bought it from you? I mean, if you're buying the same one anyway, it's brand new, the woman said. Maeve bent to pick up the toilet and hefted it back onto the shelf. The three of us started towards the gliding doors in the front of the store. When we passed the paint counter, the attendant was smearing a dab of pale pink on the lid for the couple to approve. Just give it a moment to see if it's right, he said to the couple. I walked through the doors with the handle of the liquid gold in my fist. I held my breath for a moment, waiting for the alarm. When we stepped off the curb, I lifted the bottle like cheers at Maeve. Nice. She smiled at me, and I felt a little surge of pride. The heat was dense outside the store, and the air smelled of barbecued hot dogs. The woman's hatchback was deep in the parking lot. Are you going to get cash out? I asked Maeve quietly as we walked sideways between two SUVs. A small dog in the passenger seat yapped at me through a cracked window. It made me jump, and I whacked my shoulder on the side mirror of the other vehicle. Can I e-transfer you? Maeve called to the woman. Yeah, my nephew got that all set up for me. The woman opened the trunk and lifted the toilet box on the ground. One corner of the stiff cardboard was crumpled. I rubbed my shoulder. There would be a bruise. You want to look it over? The woman asked. No, Maeve smiled. What's your email? I could hear the dog howling a few feet away. When we got back to Maeve's, both of us coated in sweat, she opened the toilet box on the kitchen table. A ripped clear plastic bag was shoved down the side of the box. Maeve lifted the toilet out and put it on the floor. Try it out. I flipped the lid. Oh, what the fuck? I stepped backwards. There was a long piece of shit in the toilet. Half of it had fallen in the tank and the other half was hardening inside the bowl. I walked around the back of the toilet and kicked the lid shut. I felt a laugh filling my chest and pursed my lips to trap it until I could read the look on Maeve's face. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eva. That was so great. It's so nice to hear. It's so nice to hear all of your work. I'm loving this so much. Okay. Our next reader is Santiago Guzman. Santiago is a writer, performer, director, and producer for theater and film, originally from Metepec, Mexico, now based in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. He is the artistic director of Todos Productions, the artistic associate for Playwrights Atlantic Resource Center, and general manager for Neighborhood Dance Works in St. John's. He's a proud member of the Quilted Collective. His work as a writer aims to put local, underrepresented narratives and characters on the front lines, whilst inviting audiences to appreciate the vibrancy of Newfoundland and Labrador from a diverse perspective. His plays have been supported, developed, and/or produced by theater companies and festivals across the country, like Toto's Productions, Resource Center for the Arts Theater Company, Artistic Fraud of Newfoundland, Rising Tide Theater, Neighborhood Dance Works, Eastern Front Theater, Playwrights Atlantic Resource Center, Page One Theater, Boca del Lupo, Paprika Festival, and the National Theatre School of Canada's Art Apart program. Santiago's work is very gay, very brown, and very real. Please welcome Santiago.
Oh my God, thank you. It's like, wow, that was awfully long. I am sorry, but not quite. No, I'm kidding. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nicole and Breakwater, for having us tonight. It is such a pleasure to be joining you from Parsboro, Mi'kma'ki, or colonially known as Nova Scotia. And this territory is covered by the Treaties of Peace and Friendship. And as I am getting settled in this beautiful town to do a playwright's residency, one of the things that I'm going to do is to understand a little bit more of who has been here before me and who's currently with me and who will be here with me, as it is the case of the Mi'kmaq people. So thank you very much, and it has been really, really delicious. Even I don't know Eva's piece if I would say delicious, but for the surprise at the end. But it was exquisite to hear you read, Eva. Thank you so much. So I will be reading a little piece from Us Now, from the anthology by the Quilted Collective, and my piece is called Vanity. I closed the bedroom door behind me and walked on my tippy toes in the dark toward the vanity. Even though I was no longer a teenager coming home from a wild night of partying, smelling of booze and trying to hide from Mama, I was still trying to be quiet. I sat in front of the mirror and could barely see my face. My eyes adapted to the darkness, slowly finding the outline of my nose, cheeks, and lips. My favorite traits today were once the things I hated the most about myself. I lit a couple of candles on top of the vanity to start the process of transformation. For 5 years, this place had become a sacred altar I had dedicated to my beauty and the long journey to achieve it. One by one, like cabaret footlights, each candle lit a section of my face, reflecting it in the mirror. Finally, I was able to see every inch of my face. My hair, messy after a long shift at work, still looked decent. I fixed a couple of misbehaved strands of hair with my hands, combing gently with my fingers, trying to make my hair look as good as it did before I left the house earlier that evening. I crossed looks with the woman in the mirror and could not keep my eyes off hers. They reminded me of mi mama, Juana. She would have never worn this much makeup, yet the darkness of my pupils and the downturned shape of my eyes, my soft, angled brows reminded me of Mama. I followed down the bridge of my nose with my index finger, reassuring the straightness of its structure. Anyone would have thought that the most talented sculptor had carved it. It seemed too good to be true. And my lips were as soft as plums and colored with the most exquisite prickly pear red. I realized then I had gotten lucky with Mama's beauty. We both had the appearance of a blossoming dahlia, seemingly bright and harsh for the eyes, yet gentle and soft when touched. Gracias, Juan. I moved my face in different directions in front of the mirror, allowing the candlelight to paint my face with delicate strokes. I stopped moving and took one last moment to appreciate the beautiful woman I had in front of me. I put my hand on my mouth in awe, and the shining of my mother's ring on my index finger made my heart sink down to the core of my being. I touched it gently and looked at the hiding moon that was ending its shift. Without thinking, I whispered, "Te extraño, Mama," hoping that perhaps this beautiful moon would wake her up from her deep sleep to deliver a message from her daughter. I took a deep breath and removed Juana's ring from my finger to then place it inside a small clay jewelry box I had brought from my last trip to Mexico. I took the beautiful brunette wig off my head and laid it flat on the vanity. I closed my eyes and began removing the eyelashes one at a time. Thank you. That was just a little snippet of this story that you can find in Us Now. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I was waiting for that, like raving applause. Thanks so much. Thank you. And now I would like to thank you. Just kidding, but thank you. Now I am going to introduce our host of tonight. So this lovely person that has been hosting this event and introducing us is Nicole Haldoupis, who is a writer from Toronto who now lives in St. John's, Newfoundland. She's a former editor of Grain magazine in Saskatchewan. I practiced it and I ruined it anyway. And a member of the board of directors at Riddle Fence. Her work can be found in Bad Dog Review, The Feathered Tail Review, Bad Nudes, and others. Her first book, Tiny Ruins by Radiant Press in 2020, was shortlisted for 4 Saskatchewan Book Awards. And without further ado, let's welcome Nicole Haldoupis.
Thank you so much, Santiago. Your reading is so beautiful. Oh, sorry. I love that story so much. Thank you so much for reading. And thank you for introducing me. I'm going to read a few stories from my book, Tiny Ruins. It's a flash fiction, so they're very, very small. First one I'm going to read is called Tough Pants. Mary, with the brown bowl cut and the squeaky voice, was their leader. She gathered everyone into a circle in the schoolyard by the far end of the track near the dumpsters. The wind blew her hair in choppy sections as she stood high on the cement hill. Okay, someone smells like poo, Mary announced. Another girl chimed in. I smelled it too, way back there, and gestured to the grassy corner where they were playing an hour ago. All the other little girls nodded in agreement, and a few uttered a, yeah, or it does smell like poop. Alana stood in the circle and agreed with the other girls, her pants filled with poop from her accident earlier in the day. She didn't know how to deal with pooping in a toilet without help from her mother. No one seemed to notice that the smell was coming from her, and she was determined to keep it that way as long as possible, maybe even forever. Okay, we're going to do a vote, Mary decided. So whoever didn't poop their pants, say aye at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Every single little girl in the group, including Alana, chimed in with an aye in unison, loud enough to make the older kids on the jungle gym look over to see what they were doing. None of the other little girls found out who pooped their pants that day. Alana went home in the afternoon and sobbed her way to the bathroom, where her mother helped her clean up. Okay, the next one I'm going to read is called Black Hole. I'm scared about what happens after you die. Is it just a black hole forever, or... Alana was on the phone with the kids' help phone agent. She had questions she was too nervous to ask anyone else and thought maybe the lady on the phone could provide the answers she was looking for. Alana often imagined what it would be like to be dead. She closed her eyes and was floating through space, except there were no stars or planets or anything pretty. Nothing but darkness. No parties with dead pets and relatives in the clouds. No coming back to life as a bird or any other animal she might like to be one day. She imagined being stuck with nothing for the rest of time. She blinked and it was black, and she opened her eyes and it was also black. The boredom she felt she anticipated for the rest of eternity made her panic until she fell asleep. You're so cute. Alana felt her breathing speed up, sniffled. But will it be like that forever? I need to know what really happens. Oh, are you crying? You're so sweet. I wish you were my daughter. I have to go. My mom's home. Elena hung up the phone. The next one I'm going to read is called Pink Jar. Elena sometimes imagined sitting on top of Sarah and washing her face. Sarah lying on her back on the bathroom floor, and Elena, tiles cold on her knees, scrubbing to get all the gunk out because Sarah didn't know how. Not properly, anyway. Elena would use her favorite face wash, the one that smells like lemon and makes lots of bubbles, lathering all over until it seemed like she was lathering too long. Then she'd get a washcloth and start scrubbing. She'd scrub in circles, getting off all the dead skin so Sarah's face would be shiny and smooth when they rinsed with cold water, pores closing tight like Cosmo Girl said. Then they'd moisturize. She'd use her pink jar of face cream that she only picked because it was on sale, even though she hates pink. Elena told her mother, and she said it was a silly idea, that Sarah probably didn't need her help. Elena explained how she would do it, and her mother went back to reading her book. Just forget about it, she'd said. She can figure it out for herself. Okay, I'm gonna read one more. I guess I'll read. This one is called Evil Eye. Elena had period cramps and a headache. You have the malocchio, her grandmother said. That's why your head hurts. No, Nana, I'm bleeding from my vagina. Her mother gave her a look. We have to see how many little devils, her Nana said. Elena sighed. The two women sat her on a chair, wrapped a towel around her shoulders, and clipped it in front with a clothespin. Her mother fetched a bottle of olive oil, while her Nana filled a large mixing bowl with water and held it to rest on top of her head. Her mother poured oil into the bowl, and they both stood over and watched. Madonna, her Nana said. Her mother gave her a worried yet guilt-trippy gasp and threw her hand over her mouth. Her mother walked back into the kitchen to find salt, handed it to her Nana, and took over holding the bowl. Her Nana poured salt into her hand and threw it in the bowl to burn the evil eyes. There, your head will feel better now, her Nana said, as she and her mother unpinned the towel and took the bowl and salt back to the kitchen. Thanks, Nana, Elena said, and walked slowly upstairs to take some Advil. Thanks. Well, thank you. Okay. It almost feels like we're together. This is so nice. Okay, I'm gonna introduce our next reader. Our next reader is Bernardine Ann Teráz Stapleton. Bernardine is an award-winning playwright, a writer, and performer of unique distinction. She has served as writer-in-residence at Memorial University of Newfoundland, as playwright-in-residence with several national companies, and as artistic director of theater festivals. Her plays are regularly produced nationally and internationally. Her short fiction has appeared in Riddle Fence and the Newfoundland Quarterly. Her previous books include They Let Down Baskets, This is the Cat, and Rants, Riffs, and Roars. And her two most recent books are Love Life with Breakwater Books and Girly Muckle and the Queer Hands with Problematic Press. My copy of Love Life here. Please welcome Bernie.
Thank you so much. I'm still so emotional from the last few readings. I realize how fortunate I am to have a book with Problematic Press and Breakwater. At first, the pandemic swept everything away, but what emerges kind of feels like the most important things at this moment. I love the cover of my book. Love Life is a mostly true fable about a Newfoundlander in Italy coming out, getting fat, chasing the Piazzi Bernardini, eating her weight in pasta, and falling in love with the only female gondolier in all of Italy. And on the night that they come together, the waters of the canals of Venice are actually overflowing driven by Newfoundland codfish, who are in a frenzy of delight about this union. The wonderful thing about inhabiting a woman-loving female body is that it knows what it wants. Give it its own way. It knows what it needs. It knows how to give and receive. In rising heat, the thought of the caress is as intoxicating as the actual touch. Women know how to circle, graze, and tease. The hint is more delicious than the full story. The erotic ache can ripple into forever. The touch is so soft, it feels like the dream of touch. A teardrop on an ocean surface, felt by the deep black below. The seduction is shy, but not tentative. It is as insistent and gentle as the ocean polishing sea glass from a jagged shard. With eyes closed in the dark, there is only sensation, lips grazing soft skin, softer flesh. All of it standing up, one upon a chair, the other upon a priceless embroidered stool. The water rises, it too, longing to glide up those thighs. Sophia's fingers trace braille on Nini's skin. The embossed symbols appear and fade, appear and fade. They say, we are a very sexy people. It is our curse. We are a people who find older women like you very sexy. We like our women mature, like you, like a ripe fruit ready to burst. Your little Buddha belly, your everything. Time is in an eddy chasing its tail. In the ocean, the wild female cod swim deep, deeper, deepest in a flamenco of mating. Flirtation is bypassed for blind sex. Female with female churn the deepest waters. The miraculous progeny of this orgasmic frenzy will grow to unheard of sizes, develop with golden blue scales, and become the subject of folkloric tales and songs, as they will never be caught and seen only rarely. They are born for one purpose only. Sophia, whose greatest dream is to be the first and only female, a gay gondolier, is released from her bitterness. Nini, whose greatest affliction has been the unrelenting need to please others, pleases herself. Across the canal, which is now no canal at all, but a river of mischievous floods, the spotlight at the restaurant of no foods falls. Fairy lights blow into the sky, where, still lit, they will come to rest on an abandoned pier, causing a yacht of American boaters to head directly for it and crash. A thumping, grinding pelvic beat emanates from a pair of speakers, even though they are completely submerged. The Bee Gees are singing a watery version of Staying Alive, even though only one of them still is. The standing up lovemaking becomes slow, slower, slowest. Time stands outside of time, out of time. Anyone looking at them would think the two women were carved of stone, unmoving, unless one stood and looked at them for 1,000 years, one dark and stormy night. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bernie. I've been putting the links in the chat here, so if you want to order a copy of Love Life or any of the books that you've heard from so far, you can see them in the chat in Zoom and also in the comments on Facebook. So I'm going to introduce our final reader for the night, Dane Woodland. Dane is a consultant, writer, and speaker whose focus is on elevating transgender experiences and informing inclusive practices. In 2016, Dane delivered a TEDx youth talk entitled How Male Privilege Made Me a Feminist, and has since been active in speaking at schools, professional workshops, and guest lectures at Memorial University of Newfoundland. Dane is a contributing author to TransVersing, an award-winning publication through Breakwater Books. While based in St. John's, Newfoundland, Dane has worked not only in his local area, but nationally and internationally as well. He is one of 12 global advisors to Lululemon for its commitments to inclusion, diversity, equity, and action, and has an ever-growing resume in consulting with notable sport and wellness organizations. He has traveled the province and engaged with people across the nation, with his writing recently being flattered by the news of a young trans person analyzing and reciting Dane's poem for a school project. Please welcome Dane.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I am so delighted to be joining this just like wonderful offering of writers. It's been really wonderful to hear everybody's work. So yeah, so flattered to be here. Just like I was flattered by this news of a young person doing a little school project using a piece called Fascination, which is actually the first one that I'm going to share with you, one of two that I'm going to share tonight, and that comes from transVersing. So without further ado, here is Fascination. What is this fascination with the bodies of people who are trans? You look at us like we are car crashes or train wrecks, wanting to look away, but maintaining a steady gaze. You erase the essence of what makes us human, separating our bodies from our souls, separating our parts from our bodies. When I hear, what an amazing transformation, I can't help but wonder if you give the same notice to the changes every body undergoes. The more we experience, the more we grow. And you may think that we change differently than you, but do you actually know anyone who has changed in the same way as you? When I read top 10 guys you won't believe were born female, I can't help but wonder if you are celebrating or gawking and snickering, as you sheepishly consider that you might find someone like me attractive, but could never imagine touching them, knowing them, or loving them. When I think trans folks are making progress, I'm sobered by the thought that we are mostly visible because of our bodies, seen because we don't look trans, or because we do. And while this is all hurtful as hell, we fall in line and play with the hand that we've been dealt, in hopes that our words will not just be heard, but felt. Are you listening now? Thank you. So this second one is called The Other Boys. And so this is one that was actually performed in a iteration of transVersing, but was developed after this was put together. So I just want to share this one. And it's about fitting in, some of the ways that I work so hard to fit in, and some of the ways that I really wish I wouldn't, some of the things that I wouldn't want to do to fit in. So this is called The Other Boys. I am building a figure divine with contours and lines that distract from my design, until I catch a glimpse that catches me off guard, and I'm not ready to guard against my fears. But with this figure, I can pretend I am a boy who can blend, so the other boys I befriend, and to survive, the vessel in which I exist as the same as one of the other boys. But during my turn of would you rather, I would rather not choose between entering an anus or an amputated arm socket. In fact, I would rather not play at all. I always think all the other boys in the change room are bigger than me, even though they're not. I reluctantly take refuge and change my shorts in the bathroom stall. And when I pee, I'm pretending to take my 12th shit of the day, because all the other boys don't sit to pee, only me. I always wipe away my labia-shaped sweat stain so that my private impression doesn't lead to an inconvenient confession. But they're not even looking, those other boys, or at least not like I think. Yet I glare and huff as I pass, just to make sure they know I'm tough, just to make sure I feel like I'm enough. This figure divine, it is all mine, carefully crafted, but often impacted by the secrets that run skin deep. It is the vessel in which a soul bewitched exists as one of the other boys.
Thank you so much, Dane. That was so wonderful. Thank you. I don't want this to be over. Remember, buy these awesome books and enter a contest so that you can win them. That's on Instagram. I also wanted to say thank you so much to everyone for attending. We'd like to take this opportunity to thank our funders, the Canada Council for the Arts, the Canada Book Fund through the Department of Canadian Heritage, and the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador. Don't forget to check out, as I mentioned, these awesome books at your local or your favorite independent bookstore, or you can order them online at the links. Thank you so much again. Have a good night.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Lovely seeing your faces. Take care.